We've reviewed movies before, haven't we? Hi everyone, I'm Zach and I like movies. And today I'm coming back to doing what I obviously fell off doing, talking David Lynch movies. And today I'm on Lost Highway. This is his movie from 1997, and it comes at an interesting point in his career because at this point, Twin Peaks kind of came and went. It was sort of unfortunately canceled, and then he did Firewalk with Me, which wasn't quite well received. So he was sort of seen, I guess, at least at that point in his career, he was sort of seen in an odd space where I guess you could say where Yorgos Lanthimos is now, where he's like the guy that the more offbeat surrealist auteur that is hitting the mainstream and having a moment in the mainstream. And but by the time Lost Highway was coming out, it was being seen that David was kind of he's losing his edge. And I think especially because this wasn't really well received initially at the time, and I guess especially because this for so long was hard to find in any good quality. They made the Kino Lorber put out the Blu-ray of it, but then David was like, no, don't buy it, it's bullshit. I think that's pretty much what he said. But it wasn't until we had this Criterion Blu-ray from a year or two ago that we didn't get it in the real great quality that it deserves. And honestly, yeah, even for just the Blu-ray, I really gotta get the 4K of this. This is a gorgeous looking movie, and it is probably one of the more quintessential Lynch movies, I think. And I think especially since I haven't seen it in so long, I had honestly forgot how much of this really mirrors Mulholland Drive. This is kind of like a sister film in a way. I guess the way you respond to it and to Mulholland Drive might depend on kind of which one you see first. I found Mulholland Drive sooner than this, so I did really responded to Mulholland Drive more. But Lost Highway has so much of what I really love. It really grows on me, even though I don't often return to it terribly often. But it feels more rewarding every time I see it. And this is about my fourth go around, and wow, man, this hits so much harder. This hits so much harder, and even still, a lot of the imagery just really sticks with me. I watched this a few days ago, and I'm still kind of just really feeling it. So basically, what this movie's about, and I've seen people sort of describe this as I don't know, convoluted or hard to follow. No, there is plotting that you can follow. It is pretty straightforward for the most part. There is some changings and horror elements that feel very that sort of do that very David Lynch thing, that Lynchian quality that gives it a sort of bleeding from what's reality and what is dreams, and is there an in between, or this sort of weird sort of a what's the word there's a purgatory of sorts. But what this is about, it's about Bill Pullman, who plays Fred. He is a saxophonist. Plays these very aggressively plays very aggressive freeform jazz sax, and he's married to Renee, and their relationship is tense. He's very jealous and kind of possessive of her, and then they start getting these videotapes of their house, and then videotapes of inside their house, them in their bed, and their relationship is fraught even from there. If he's inadequate in bed, and he feels very condescended to when she tries to comfort him, and he talks there's talks of his dreams, and then one day they're at a party in LA, and he's met by Robert Blake plays the mystery man, and then he kill then and to keep the plot in like a straightforward sense. After he meets the mystery man, he in a jealous fit he kills his wife, and in prison he becomes a different person. He transforms into Pete, and Pete is played by Balthazar Getty, and Pete goes back. He's released because like, hey, he's not supposed to be here, so he's released into his parent back to home. He has a job at an auto shop. He has his friends, these like kind of biker hoodlums. He gets on with a lot of girls, and he's also friendly with Robert Loggia, who plays his name. He plays Mr. Eddie. Yeah, he plays Mr. Eddie, who is just this kind of mafia guy, porn producer that has a short fuse. Actually, no fuse. He's very aggressive, very shouty and violent, and just screams and you just know you are always walking on thin ice around this guy, and Pete is friendly with Mr. Eddie. He like fixes his cars and stuff, but Pete is attracted to his squeeze Alice Wakeman, who is played by Patricia Arquette, who also played Renee. So there's continuing doppelgangers, and then he gets wrapped up in this very there's very classical like noir story, like something like it's very inspired by Detour. There's a lot of Alice's look. It was very Veronica Lake, with like the blonde hair and the dark coat and the lips and the shadows on her face. It's gorgeous, but and from there it sort of devolves into like realities sort of coming together and falling apart, and harsh truths being confronted. And it is straightforward, but you have to kind of get on the wavelength. And especially since I haven't I was taking notes in terms of what the plot things that happen here and there, but there is it's mostly like, especially with Lynch, you kind of need to kind of get out of your own way in trying to get it. You just kind of have to let it flow, let it happen. And if there is a sense of if there's something hard symbolic going on, that's probably just like anything you can like read into. Again, David was always very like hands off and obtuse about telling anyone what to feel or what to read into. But there is a lot of what I get out, but when I think of so a lot of when you're watching a David Lynch movie like Mulholland Drive, like Lost Highway, you have to kind of like feel it out through like the emotions of it. And what I think of when I think of Lost Highway is being swallowed up by just the dark blackness of night, just like whether it's like on in like the shadows of the room, just like walking into and out of complete and utter darkness, or it's like the opening credits, which is just honestly one of my favorites ever. It's this footage of the headlights of a car just barreling down full speed down this highway to the sound of a Trent Reznor remix of David Bowie's "I'm Deranged," and it's like just what a way to start a movie, and it's really incredible. And also I feel that there is a lot of underpinnings with in following through with the noir tropes that's so beautifully established. There's a lot of there's a lot of a use with the femme fatale, like both femme fatales that Patricia Arquette played today. Like she is like it is with the Renee and Fred section, it is clearly a kind of a very emotionally abusive relationship. He's so possessed. Feels so angered by his jealousy and his sexual inadequacies that it's so that he feels even that he's like you feel like he's ready to lash out, and like the way and he lashes out through his music. Like there's this scene where Pullman is like playing in this club, and he's like has this like just playing this wailing, screaming saxophone. It's really hard to do. So like and it's like incredible that he was even able to fake making it looking good, but and I would say like the casting in this movie is pretty incredible. Like like Pullman, I've always loved, like I always really love Pullman. Like he's not less from Independence Day, more for Spaceballs, because he's Lone Star, and I love him. But here he has such, like Lynch saw some like, oh, he has like some untapped potential, had this rage in him, and he has such this simmering hatred in his eyes, whether he's like kind of condescendingly talking to Renee, or just like when he's staring back at the camera, like you see so much in it. And Arquette is doing such really daring stuff, really honestly some really tough, scary scenes, and she's pulling it off with such grace. And at that point in the 90s, she was kind of she was kind of usually cast as like these kind of maybe not wonderkins, but very sort of and symbolically angelic characters. Like, oh, she is a pure character in this like dark world. And I think but she plays the like femme fatale. The like she has such a lure to her presence in such especially in the back end of this movie, that like you absolutely can understand why Pete would fall for would risk himself, risk crossing Mr. Eddie to want to run away with her, like just but like if we're talking like also love the like Robert Loggia is like incredible in this. The way he just absolutely explodes on this guy who was tailgating him, and just like runs him off the road, pulls him out of the car, just starts wailing on him and screaming in his face. And it's a little funny how he got this role, because he actually auditioned for, well, he was going to audition for the Frank role for Blue Velvet, but David was like, he got carried away with like talking with Dennis Hopper, that Robert Loggia actually screamed like you can't treat your actors like this. It just like read him the riot act, and David just kind of locked that away, just like, all right, I'll save this for later. And then eventually like they sort of patched it through, and he cast him here, and he's incredible here. And also love the little performance of Gary Busey as Pete's dad. Just, it's 90s Gary Busey, so he's like mostly cool. But also love the small appearance of Richard Pryor. This was in fact his last movie, one of the last things he ever did as a performer, because at that point in his career, at that point in his life, he had been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and had to get around with his like mobility scooter, and it's so fascinating that he's here, but like he's such a nice presence. He's like hey, Pete's back, everybody, Pete's back. But man, if we're talking like casting, Robert Blake, Beretta, is, as the Mystery Man, is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen conjured onto a screen. He like when at the party scene where Fred eyes him, and he just locks eyes, and like he walks up to his personal space, and then the music just completely silences out, and he's staring at him. He has this weird like kabuki devil mask face. He has no eyebrows. His hair is slicked black. His jet black and slicked back, and he's just staring intently with these like crazy eyes. And like, we've met before, haven't we? And like even the tenor of his voice is very interesting. And he's like, I'm in your house. You've invited me in. And he like hands him his phone, and he like tells him to call his house, and he calls it, and he's talking to and on the phone he's talking to the mystery man while he's in front of him, and it's a very simple thing, but it's creepy as shit. Oh god. And he appears so frequently, and like Fred, like at that moment in the movie, Fred immediately clues, oh, he's the one who like sent me the tapes. But there's so much like there's so much like possibilities that what the mystery man is or could conjure up. And I think there is I think in some sense, like with the way that like, you know, dreams are, and what David how David sort of like came to create this movie, like through like transcendental meditation. One thing that he was inspired by was the O.J. Simpson case. Like this isn't like him. This isn't about, not to say that Lost Highway is about the O.J. Simpson trial, but that was a seed that was planted, and that sort of became a seed that became Lost Highway. And so what I sort of really lean on is the mystery man represents mass media. He is the 24/7 news cycle. He is in our home because we already invited him in, and he's always staring at us with the he's always watching us with his videotape, and he asks us what's your name, and yes, and he is just this ever present. He is the one who is chasing us with the camera. He is putting the knife in our hand to do violence, to capture it. And he is he at one point he gives Robert Loggia a TV to watch his own death on. And again, it's not that I think that's exactly what David Lynch is saying, but like that is something that does color the movie. And I think it even colors it further because Robert Blake himself was caught up in that like celebrity celebrity murder trial hysteria, because he in like, what was it, like 2002, 2003 or something, he maybe killed his wife. He probably totally did, and was acquitted on it. I always think of that Norm Macdonald joke, like, you know, I finally understand O.J. Simpson. I was like, no, he didn't do it. I like Beretta. But like, yeah, said his alibi was like, oh no, I didn't shoot my wife. I was because I went to my car to get my gun. It's like, it's crazy. It's like just that whole thing is in its own crazy rabbit hole. But I think that's in essence what the mystery man is. And every time he's on screen, it's just so, oh my god, it's so sinister and so haunting. And I think and so much of Lost Highway is some of Lynch's most haunting, most beautiful, but also his most haunting work. Like the sound of it. There's a death scene that is just so. It's very stagey in the sense of like oh, this is very much like out of like a noir murder plot, but the visual of it, like this guy, he is thrown off, and he like falls forehead first onto the corner of a glass table. It's so gnarly, and even also actually coming back to the mystery man and the media, it calls to this line that Pullman says early on. He says, I don't is I don't like videotapes. I like to remember things my own way rather than how they actually happen. And I think videotapes. And when he sees the mystery man in this cabin that's on fire at the end, and when he points his camera at him, he's like, "What's your name? What the fuck is your name?" He's like chases him by. It's like him being confronted with this guilt of that he's been trying to run away from. This, oh no, you actually did kill your wife, and you can't run away from it. You might scream and run and drive down that highway like he does at the end of this movie, but he can't. And he might change into a different person, but he can't escape that. And that's the tone, that's the note that this movie really leaves me on. This like inescapable, haunting dread of guilt. There are innocence in Lynch's world, but I think we are guilty, and that's really the feeling that Lost Highway leaves me. And it's a marvelous film. I think again, if you can, man, you really should pick this up. And I gotta upgrade this actually. And I think if there's any problem I have with it, it's not necessarily a problem, but it is there is a sense of diminishedness when Fred makes that shift to Pete, mostly because Balthazar Getty just is not as compelling as Bill Pullman in this. Pullman is just marvelous, and Balthazar Getty, he does good stuff, but like I feel I'm less engaged with him than I was with Fred. But love a lot of like what this movie's going for, and I think, and I'm always fascinated how this movie does feel like something of like a dry run, for not a dry run, but like sort of a first stab at things that he later clarified, I think was able to later synthesize with Mulholland Drive. It's fascinating that way, and it's a great movie. Honestly, one of Lynch's best. Yeah, I would highly recommend this if you haven't seen it already. What do you think of Lost Highway? What do you think the mystery man is exactly? Because also, do you see him when you dream? Because honestly, even the way that to circle back one last time, the way that this movie is able to conjure that feeling of creating people whole cloth. Because like I've had dreams where I just when I woke up and I'm like, who is that? Where did that person come from? And it's just that way that it's a movie that only David Lynch could make, and the way that David Lynch makes it. And yeah, love it. Love Pullman. Love Arquette. She's marvelous. Love Blake. Love the noir stuff. I think this is like the best example I can think of a horror noir. It's definitely a noir, and it's definitely horrifying. And yeah, can't recommend enough. So I guess I'll leave it there. I'm Zach. I like movies. I got a lot more movies to watch, and got a couple David Lynch things to watch. I need to go back and watch and really dig into Twin Peaks, but I got all my movies to watch. I need to watch Twin Peaks, and also Silk Song came out, so I'm gonna be busy. And we're actually in the fourth quarter too. So anyway, so that'll be it for me. Keep watching movies, because movies are life, and life is good. And I will see you all next time. You take care of yourselves.